you know that's how you set it up.
Hey Jeff, just so you know, our concern in the round before,
but now look at him, he's scared, you don't have to say. What's up with all that you were saying? How come you're not saying all that now? He's there, you can't even talk, he's all he's all nervous.
Bro,
he's all nervous.
Bro, he's just saying, you have nothing, bro. This is my fault.
I'm gonna beat you.
This is my fault, you don't have nothing.
What?
This is my fault, you don't have nothing, man.
I'm gonna beat you. Hey, there's 3 weeks left to the fight. 3 weeks left to the fight.
David Benavidez and David Morrell's rivalry took a dramatic turn during a tense face-off, where their emotions clearly took over. The confrontation quickly escalated, showing just how personal this competition has become. David Benavidez and David Morrell have been in a fierce rivalry, constantly challenging each other and trading harsh words. The tension between them has been building as both fighters continue to provoke one another.
The fight you're making the most money, and you're making the less money, because all your managers are getting more money.
In 3 weeks, you can do it. Nothing.
You watch. They're all gonna cash out. Nobody's gonna be behind you.
Bro, man, you don't have power, bro. You don't have power.
It's on.
It's power, man.
You can do now.
You don't have power.
You can do now. I'm gonna retire that. I'm gonna retire that.
You don't have nothing.
Stop saying all this shit.
That's it. That's it.
Number 12 here in the
The tension between them has only grown stronger, driven by their shared goal to prove who is the better fighter. Both Benavidez and Morrell have worked tirelessly to make this fight happen, and now, their long-awaited showdown is finally set to take place.
I want to see him. I'm gonna beat the shut the f*** up, bitch. What would it do to me?
February 1st, you're going in there. Break it.
During a recent tense face-off, the situation nearly turned physical. Benavidez sparked the confrontation by touching Morrell's belt, which led to an angry response from Morrell, who threw his own belt at him. Security struggled to separate the two as the conflict nearly turned into a brawl. The fighters have exchanged bold words and accusations, turning this rivalry into a grudge match that has fans on the edge of their seats.
You know, hop, he jumps,
and he's it, and those body shots definitely slowing down.
With their rivalry heating up, their upcoming fight is set to be an exciting clash for pride and dominance. Benavidez and Morrell have been going at it for months, always finding opportunities to throw insults. Morrell took things further by mocking Benavidez, making fun of his taco-eating habits and claiming he doesn't speak Spanish correctly.
Viva México, cabrones, como dicen ustedes, pero Benavidez ni español sabe hablar. Lo único que sabe es comer taquitos y mierda. Pero nada, tranquilo. No es... Que febrero primero gane el mejor, pues obviamente. Ya todo el mundo sabe quién es el mejor, así que papá los pollitos.
Both fighters are undefeated, each bringing their own unique style to the ring, making this one of the most anticipated matchups of the year. The fight is scheduled for February 1st, 2025, at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. This light heavyweight showdown will unify Morrell's WBA regular title and Benavidez's WBC interim belt. During a conversation about the fight, Jose Benavidez, David's brother, shared his confidence in David's abilities and dismissed the hype around Morrell. He believes Morrell's behavior during interviews and face-offs shows signs of fear and doubt. Despite Morrell's bold talk, Jose said, "My brother has way more experience and is way stronger. This is all just hype. You can see he's scared, his eyes tell the truth." Jose also questioned the reputation Morrell has built, pointing out that Morrell has only had a few professional fights. He doesn't believe it's valid to call Morrell a feared figure or boogeyman of the sport.
How many fights do you have? Like 10 fights? Or how many?
9. I think this will be his 10th fight.
Fights. I mean, you can't really say someone's a boogeyman, you know, in the game and this and that when you only have 10 fights. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how he...
Tasting the
Jose Benavidez spoke out about the incident where David Morrell threw a belt at his brother, David Benavidez, during a heated face-off. Jose criticized Morrell's actions, calling them impulsive and reckless, and pointed out that such behavior could have put others in danger. He questioned Morrell's credibility, suggesting that his actions didn't match the tough image he tries to project.
I don't know why the f*** threw a belt. That's something you don't do. What if there would have been, you know, someone said he was a kid or something? You don't do that. And that's how you know he's not how he says he is. He walks around like he's from the head, like he's gangster. He's like, none of that. Why you gonna throw a belt? Why not pass the belt down to the side and go?
No, here we go. But it's just like bloodshot on
At 27 years old, David Benavidez has an impressive record of 29 wins and 24 knockouts. Known for his aggressive and relentless style, he puts constant pressure on his opponents, often overwhelming them with his volume of punches. His ability to throw powerful combinations and maintain a fast pace throughout the fight has made him one of the most exciting fighters to watch. In his latest fight, Benavidez defeated former light heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk, showing off his power and adaptability as he continues to dominate in his division. Former world champion Antonio Tarver is backing Benavidez due to his greater experience. Tarver believes Benavidez's history of facing tougher competition gives him a clear advantage over Morrell. While Morrell is talented, Tarver points out that his relatively limited experience against top-level fighters may not be enough to beat Benavidez, who has consistently shown he can handle bigger challenges.
I gotta go with experience. I like David Benavidez because of that. When you look at his resume, the guys he's faced, and you look at Morrell hadn't faced that many proven guys yet. You know, he passed the eye test, but when they step in that ring, I think experience is gonna lean toward Benavidez. Now, I will say this, if that fight gets tough, I think David Benavidez is going to want somebody in that corner that truly understand what's going on right in front of him, that can also lend some critical information if that fight gets.
David Morrell, a 26-year-old southpaw, has a record of 11 wins, with 9 of those coming by knockout. Although he has fewer professional fights than Benavidez, Morrell's strong amateur background has given him a solid understanding of the sport. Boxing commentator Showbiz the Adult shared his thoughts on the fight, predicting a win for Morrell. He praised Morrell's exceptional punching power and speed, highlighting these as key advantages in the matchup.
David Morrell is going to put up one hell of a fight. I just think David Benavidez is not what people think he is. I see a highly skilled fighter with good fluidity in his punches and his moves. The guy, to me, is one of the best fighters in the world.
For the kind of fighter that David Benavidez.
Shows also referenced Morrell's performance in previous fights, particularly his victory over Alexander, which solidified his belief in Morrell's capabilities. He suggested that Morrell's combination of athleticism and skill would allow him to overcome Benavidez in their upcoming clash, offering a win to Morrell due to his superior hand speed and power.
Skill-wise, like he got fast hands, he throws great flurries, he knows how to break you down systematically. His defense is far better than people give him credit. Him against Alexander Usyk, I was like, brother, this guy looks great, right? He just needs more time at 175.
Morrell is known for his technical skills, speed, and sharp counterpunching. In his light heavyweight debut, he scored an impressive win over Rivalry, proving he has what it takes to compete with the best in the division. His ability to read his opponents and take advantage of their weaknesses makes him a dangerous fighter, even against someone as experienced as Benavidez. The rivalry between David Benavidez and David Morrell reached a new level during an explosive interview on the Ariel Helwani show. Both fighters brought their fiery attitudes to the table, exchanging heated words and accusations.
Good.
What do you mean?
Good. I'm glad you're saying that. After I f***ing stopped you, I want you to say that too.
You can do it. You can do it, bro.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. That's the difference between me and everybody else.
No, I'm teaching
Nobody
you.
like me.
I'm
You never
teaching you
been
the
with nobody in the ring like
boxing,
me.
After the fight, you know, I said, hey, let's go, Mahab. I'm teaching you the real boxing, man.
Quick combinations and his unyielding drive to break down his opponents. And
David Morrell confidently declared he's ready for the fight, saying he's not just prepared, but is actually in the process of teaching Benavidez a lesson. He dismissed Benavidez as predictable and simple, downplaying his opponent's skills. Morrell stated, "I'm ready, I'll be teaching you. You're nothing, so predictable, so simple, you're nothing." The difference in their fighting styles only adds more excitement to the matchup. Benavidez thrives on aggression, using his relentless offense to wear down his opponents. As a volume puncher, he can keep up a high pace throughout the rounds, forcing his opponents to fight on his terms.
You know, obviously he'd been calling for that fight, but I don't think they thought I was going to take it so soon. I want to let him know that he's in, you know, for a hell of a ride. And everybody said that I was ducking David Morrell. They're going to see who the best is. When David Morrell sees me over him while he's out on the floor, unconscious, laid out, that's when he's going to know that he probably should never take this fight. And that's going to let everybody know who the fuck the Mexican monster is.
Morrell, on the other hand, takes a more calculated approach. He relies on his superior ring IQ, footwork, and defensive skills to set up counterpunching opportunities. While Benavidez will come out strong, looking to apply pressure from the very start, Morrell's ability to stay calm and take advantage of any mistakes could turn the fight in his favor.
Before the first conference, I achieved, but right now, no, fuck that. Now, like, I'm really, man, I'm really angry.
While in the other corner, we have
Buddy McGirt, a former world champion and respected trainer, shared his thoughts on the upcoming fight between David Benavidez and David Morrell. He recognized that both fighters are skilled and agreed the fight will be exciting, with each one facing big challenges. McGirt said, "It's going to be an interesting fight. I think both guys will really be tested. Morrell's a good boxer, but the later rounds will tell the story." McGirt explained that while Benavidez may need a few rounds to find his rhythm, once he figures out his opponent's timing, he becomes very dangerous. He pointed out Benavidez's ability to unleash powerful 20-punch combinations, which could cause serious problems for Morrell.
Because, Benavidez, it takes him a few rounds to get going. But once he gets going and he figures out your rhythm, you got problems. Once you start letting those 20-punch combinations go, you got problems. So it's going to be an interesting fight.
Easier said than done against a guy who's only been stopped once, and that's when...
Buddy McGirt suggested that after the 5th round, the fight would hit a turning point where both fighters' egos and determination would push them to step up the intensity. This would lead to a more aggressive, high-stakes battle.
Of course, they both got their pride, man. They got that machismo shit going on. So after the 5th round, it's going to get hot in the kitchen.
You believe that David Morrell's not scared of David Benavidez?
I believe he's not. Now, what happens when he gets touched, I don't know.
McGirt expanded on his earlier point, explaining that the first few rounds would likely be more strategic and measured, like a chess match, as both fighters try to understand each other's strengths and weaknesses. However, he expected the pace to pick up significantly after the 5th round, with one fighter likely gaining the upper hand.
So it's going to be, I think, after the 5th round, that's when the fight's really going to get interesting. The first 4 or 5, it's going to be more like a chess match. After the 5th round, somebody's going to have somebody figured out. And that's when it's going to get hot in the kitchen.
One of the key factors in this fight is the experience each fighter brings. Benavidez has been a pro for nearly a decade and has faced top-level competition, giving him an edge in understanding the ins and outs of the sport. Boxing analyst Paulie Malignaggi criticized the current system, suggesting the fight between Benavidez and Morrell could generate even more buzz than a potential showdown with Canelo Alvarez. He noted that while both Benavidez and Morrell have the skills to beat Canelo, the lack of hype around their bout means it won't make as much money. Still, Morrell's impressive amateur background, especially his time in Cuba's boxing system, has sharpened his technical skills and prepared him for tough situations. Although Benavidez has more pro experience, Morrell's amateur career gives him a solid foundation for success. On the other hand, Benavidez has been vocal about his concerns regarding Morrell's commitment to drug testing ahead of their fight. He's frustrated by Morrell's reluctance to undergo thorough testing and claims Morrell's team hasn't fully cooperated with the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association, VADA.
They say that David Morrell, we're talking about a Betco, they say he was tested the whole camp, David Morrell was not tested, and after the fight they didn't do no test, no drug test, which is kind of odd to me, but I really don't care about that. Even if it was on steroids, I'd beat the shit out. But, if you're a dirty fighter, you will get exposed. You know what I mean? That's why they're making such a big deal and they didn't want to test. But dirty fighters will be exposed in this game. You know what I mean? And that's not good for the sport and it's not good for people, to use steroids. So, I'm not going to let that
Again, he feels he could score the best knockout of his career in the light heavy.
Benavidez stressed the importance of strict drug testing to ensure a fair and clean competition. He pointed out that while Morrell's past opponents had been tested, Morrell himself hadn't been held to the same level of scrutiny. Benavidez's comments reflect his commitment to upholding integrity in the sport and making sure all fighters compete on a level playing field.
So, at the end of the day, these are the high-caliber fights that need testing. When I fought Caleb Plant, when I fought Demetrius Andre, we were testing 14 weeks out. You know what I mean? With this one, we barely started testing 9 weeks out. And it's not like I'm asking stuff that I didn't do myself. I've been tested more than VADA by anybody. I've been tested more than anybody. By VADA by anybody. You know what I mean? I've been tested over probably 40 times. So it's not like I'm telling them to do something I didn't do it myself. You know what I mean? When I fought Caleb Plant, they wanted to test as soon as we signed the contract. So it's not like I'm asking them to do anything, you know, and then for them to act like, you know, we're making them do something that they're not supposed to do. You know, we're supposed to take VADA tests. You know, it's supposed to be clean boxing. Isn't that why VADA's in boxing?
Fans are divided in their opinions about the upcoming fight. Benavidez's aggressive style has earned him a strong following, with many believing his high-volume punching will overwhelm Morrell. On the other hand, Morrell's supporters argue that his intelligence in the ring and ability to neutralize aggressive opponents will give him the edge. They believe his counterpunching and defensive skills will allow him to control the fight and frustrate Benavidez. Boxing analyst Breadman Edwards also weighed in on Morrell's physical maturity, comparing him to Brian Norman. He noted that Morrell seems more physically developed, but questioned if he has the mindset and strategy to beat someone as skilled and experienced as Benavidez. Edwards said, "I think Morrell is physically mature, more so than Brian Norman right now. But I'm not sure if he has the sense of purpose to beat Benavidez. He just overwhelms his opponents, beats on them because they can't keep up with him." Edwards also pointed out that Morrell hasn't yet faced a real challenge that would force him to make adjustments during a fight. He mentioned that Morrell's previous opponents, while persistent, weren't strong enough to truly test him.
I haven't had to see him make a second half adjustment. I haven't had to see him fight a guy and not know whether he was winning after the 6th round. I never saw him, you know, not be in control of a fight. Even though he had a tough fight the last time, that was more of a guy just being pesky with him, and he was winning the fight, and the guy kind of like scraped his way back in the fight.
Was able to drop him 3 times and stop him, and Bostic went on a long hiatus, retired for 3.
Looney B, who has sparred with both David Benavidez and David Morrell, shared his thoughts on Benavidez's skills. While he acknowledged that Benavidez is a talented fighter, Looney wasn't particularly impressed by his performances against opponents he felt were too small for him. He pointed out that Benavidez's dominance in those matchups wasn't surprising, as he should naturally look superior against smaller fighters. Looney said, "I'm not hating on him, I think David is a phenomenal fighter, but I'm not impressed. He should look like that against guys who are too small for him." Looney also compared Morrell's physical attributes and style to Benavidez's, noting that Morrell is also big for the super middleweight division and possesses strong punching power. He highlighted Morrell's slick and offensive Cuban boxing style, believing it makes him a tough challenge for any fighter, even someone as strong as Benavidez.
Yeah, I know. Because David Morrell is big too. He's big for super middleweight too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's big, he can punch, he's slick, really got that Cuban style. What he Cuban?
Yeah.
Like real slick.
Offensive with it.
Offensive with it. And those styles are tough for anybody to fight. For anybody to fight.
Even the Mexican monster?
Even the Mexican monster.
Looney B noted that while Benavidez is physically dominant and uses his size to overpower opponents, he doesn't rely on the slick techniques that Morrell does. Instead, Benavidez's strategy is to pressure his opponents, absorbing punches because of his size. However, he doesn't always have the quickness or defensive skills to avoid getting hit.
Especially with David, with that style he got, David's really not slick. He just uses his size to wear guys down. He's like you walk him down and he's so big, you hitting him, but you really can't get him good because he's too big.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With David Morrell, he would really have to worry about some heat coming back being thrown at him, and David Morrell got real good feet. He got real good feet, so I think that would give David some trouble, and he can punch.
Bostic here in the second.
As the rivalry between David Benavidez and David Morrell intensifies, this upcoming fight is shaping up to be an exciting showdown. With their contrasting styles and personalities, it's going to be a true test of strength, strategy, and endurance. Will Benavidez's size be enough to overpower the slick and dangerous Morrell? Or will Morrell's speed and technique prove too much for the Mexican monster? Don't miss this epic battle. Hit the like button, subscribe, and drop your predictions in the comments below. Stay tuned for more updates and insights as the fight approaches.